This is probably the most cursed video I've ever made. I have tried to make this video, if you include the number of times I've had to record sections of this actual video, and not just the times I've tried to make it and ended up making something else. I think I've tried to make this video about 7 times. Finally, it's done. Kind of. I gave up at the end. Spoilers, I suppose. So, usually the way I do this is I record all the footage, then I bring it into my editor, I make it the time-lapse length that I want it to, and then I watch it back and talk over the top of it, so that I'm kind of talking about things as they happen. Can't do that this time, because I've had to speed up the video so much that my computer can't play it back. So I could render the video and watch the rendered video, and then re-render everything again with the voiceover on top, but I have about 5 hours to get this video up, and I don't think I'll have enough time to render it twice. Also, if I actually try and watch the video back in my editor, the audio just breaks every now and again, which is nice. So what went wrong this time? At first, not much. If you pay close attention right at the start of the video, you'll notice something isn't quite right, and I don't notice that for 2 more hours. Right now, it was just a matter of painting stuff, and that wasn't too bad. My main issue with painting is just getting the paint to the right consistency. The whole mixing it with water thing, it never worked for me. It was always too wet. What I ended up doing eventually was I would put water on the model and then get paint on my paintbrush and then put that on the model, because that way it would kind of blend together. Using the paper to try and blend the water with the pigment just didn't work for me. It always too wet, no matter what I did. Painting everything black was not too bad. It took a lot longer than I wanted it to. It took me well over an hour to paint the pieces, and I was not prepared for how long it was going to take. But it didn't go too badly. One issue I did have was trying to work out how to hold the pieces all the time. I couldn't work it out. I know they use grippy things to hold the models when, if you're painting a Space Marine, they have the little base grip things, but I don't really know what they use to paint something this big that you have to paint in pieces. I think to some extent as well, I just don't like painting things this big and intricate. The Space Marine, I've got Space Marine painted, and I think they're nice. It was the one I did in the store. And then I started painting this, and I thought it was going alright at first when I was just doing all the black pieces. And then the second it got to doing the more intricate red work that I ended up doing, I was just no. It was just terrible. So I also go on a little side quest at one point and start painting some dice. I bought dice the other day, and they are red dice with white dots, and I wanted them to have black dots, and they don't. The first one I did, I just used a Sharpie on all the dots, and that kind of worked, but I thought painting it might be nicer, and it turns out I was completely wrong. It looks fucking hideous, so I'm just going to do all the rest with a Sharpie again. I used the time while the models were drying to decorate my base a little bit. We had some construction sand just in the house, so I put some of that in a box and then cover the base with glue and then dip it in the box, and it worked pretty well. For the first while it looks a bit weird because some of the bits had a lot of glue on and some not so much, and it took a while to dry, but once it dried I actually quite like how it looks. When it gets to painting the red on the intricate pieces, I do one of the claws and I think, yeah, this is alright, and then I get halfway through the face and I'm like, no, this is awful, I can't do this anymore. It was just too much. There's just too much to do, and it was mostly a matter of there's a lot of edge pieces to the model, and doing them on the really small pieces isn't such a big deal, but once you're doing them on all of the wings, I was just no, I'm not going to have the patience for this. So I just decided not to. I decided to just do the face and the claws pretty much. I did end up doing a few more pieces as well, I did some of the wingtips. I'm actually going to go back and do more of the wingtips later. I also, right near the end, I'd paint the weapon silver, which was always the plan, but I actually originally also planned to do the claws silver, and I didn't, and I would like to do that at some point as well, and I just haven't yet. But I just couldn't deal with how intricate it is, and I think that's the most important thing I learned, is that I don't have the patience to do that. Because I don't have the patience to do that, I decided to just skip to building it. And when I skipped to building it, I got partway into the instructions and noticed that I was missing some pieces, and this was the next time things went wrong for me. So I had to stop recording then and spend, I don't know, it was about an hour going around and trying to find the pieces, and eventually I did. They were just in a different box. I don't know why, but they were. So it turns out I'd missed all 4 of the wings and some extra little pieces that the wings attached to. So I find them eventually and decide to paint those. Again, just painting them black was fine. I have noticed that you can't exactly tell in the video that I'm painting things black, because the grey doesn't exactly show up. In person, it's a much more distinct difference. Like, the black is very black and the grey is very grey. But in the video, it doesn't show up so much, which is a little bit annoying. So I get through painting all of these wings, and then I'm like, well, there's some more bits I'd like to do the detail work on. So while the wings are drying, I'll do the detail work on some of those. So I'll do the detail work on one of the claws, and then while I was doing that, I heard a noise. So the way I record is I have a big TV right in front of my table, and I have OBS open up on there, so it shows me the recording. I put something down on the table and looked up and nothing moved on the screen, and I was like, what? And then I checked and I used my phone to record the videos. My phone had died. So that was the next time things went wrong for me. Luckily, I think this is, until it came to editing, the last time things went actually wrong. Because I didn't notice that it had stopped until after I'd painted the stuff, there's a tiny little bit where I can paint something off screen and just bring it back because I didn't notice. It was mostly just doing the detail work and everything from that point onwards. I realise my commentary at the moment isn't the most interesting thing, but I can't really see what I'm doing. So I'm like kind of getting glimpses of stuff as I'm skipping around a 4-hour recording rather than watching a usual 10-minute time-lapse, and trying to remember the interesting things I thought of at the time that I can't remember now. There's a lot of times when like I'm painting stuff off screen, which I try not to do, but the issue is it's a lot of like small detail work and I needed them close up so I could see it properly. I am really happy with how the wingtips turned out. I think they look probably the best. Like, I like a lot of the pieces that I actually did the detail work on. I would like to have done the detail work more, but I just don't have the patience for it. But the wingtips I think are my favourite bits. I didn't do all of the wingtips, and I'm going to go back and do the rest of them at some point. This is where I was saying that, like, it didn't go wrong. Oh, actually, no, I was wrong. There is one more part where things go wrong. Things didn't go wrong for me right now. It was mostly just a matter of, like, I didn't have the patience to carry on doing all the painting. Like, this is 4 hours of recording, but it took an entire day between, like, setting up and things going missing and fixing mistakes and stuff like that. So the next part, things went wrong, was putting it together, where for some reason just some of the wings just don't sit right. And I don't know why. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't think I did anything wrong. But some of the wings don't sit right. They also, like, feel kind of floppy, like they didn't stick properly. They don't sit correctly in the position they're supposed to go in, but they also don't feel like they stuck properly either. One thing I don't like about building is how long you've got to hold things for. And it's like finding the correct position to put things in to hold it for long enough. It's just like kind of uncomfortable the entire time. Oh, I also, I put grass on the base because I bought this, nice little grass. And it wasn't intentional, but I used exactly 10 pieces and I put them on, in a very symmetrical manner, and it was entirely accidental, but I noticed I did it afterwards and I was like, well, I'm not fixing it now. I also couldn't decide which way round to have the Heldrake on the base. Doesn't really matter, but I couldn't work it out. But yeah, that's everything. I think it looks quite nice. There's little bits I'd like to do better, but I think for the most part I'm pretty happy with it. And I thought I'd just add in this little bit here at the end so you could see what it looks like and make it look like the Space Marine's going to fight a Heldrake. I thought it looked nice. It was a nice idea. It actually was a bit of a mess making it, but whatever. It looks good. I'm going to go now. Thanks for watching. Bye. Special thanks to my patrons, Justin Wood, Hobbs and Koopy Vegeta. You can join my patrons at patreon.com/Holden Gatsby, check out my TikTok and Twitter at Holden Gatsby, and follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Holden Gatsby. Don't forget to subscribe to all of my channels. If you want more, you can watch my last video now, but if not, then thanks for sticking around.